In the arid inland of Australia, water is priceless because it doesn't rain very often. So farmers must pump it from underground. But first they have to find it. And throughout Australia, many farmers sink their bores on the advice of men who claim a paranormal or supernatural power, the ability to detect or divine the presence of unseen water underground. The belief is widespread and it's been entrenched for hundreds of years. James Randi is here to test it, and he's frankly sceptical.
And I am told from my correspondents here and from other people who have been here that this seems to be a very popular delusion, the idea that people can douse with a forked stick or bent coat hangers or whatever, that they can actually find water. Well, if they can, all well and good. Again, my concern is not how they do it, but if they do it.
Maybe it's mental, maybe it's a psychic power that's tied up with the brain itself.
Do you feel any different after you've been divining?
No, not really.
Can you do it any time of the day or night?
Any time of the day or night, any place.
The cream of Australia's diviners gather in Sydney to take up the $30,000 challenge of the sceptical trio, Dick Smith, Philip Adams and James Randi.
The idea is it's really very hard to keep it perfectly level, and relaxing your hand the slightest bit, it'll come up or it'll go down, one or the other, and you can't see any apparent movement of the hand. It's actually a tense system which is out of balance, and it's very hard to keep it in balance.
Randy, what don't you believe in?
I don't believe that 2 + 2 = 5. I don't believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny. The first I don't believe simply because, by definition, 2 + 2 = 4, and always will, one hopes. I don't believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, or the Easter Bunny because there's not sufficient evidence for them. The same breath, I don't believe in ESP, precognition, water divining, spoon benders, and whatnot because there's not sufficient evidence for them either.
On Sydney's outskirts, a team of workmen begin preparing the site for Australia's first definitive test of water divining. The test has been designed with the complete agreement of the water diviners themselves. 10 parallel trenches are dug to take 10 plastic water pipes. The diviners will have to detect in which pipe the water is flowing.
I think we'll find that, in fact, I'm sure there'll be a result, and possibly 10 results tomorrow, the way things are looking.
You think the 10 diviners will be able to get it right?
I'll be very surprised if the 10 of them do not.
What's your success rate in water divining?
100%. And I think that this test should go beyond any shadow of doubt and prove to the public generally that water divining is possible, does work, and will work.
They're very confident words.
I'm sure, well, if you've had success at this game, you become confident.
The morning of the test arrives, and there are last-minute preparations, with meticulous attention to detail. The $30,000 is now $40,000. Another skeptic has thrown his money into the ring.
Get going now. I sent those down to you. I sent a box of pens and a lot of blank paper.
Roger, thank you. It is obviously essential to avoid any claims of trickery or deception by both sides. The test must be as fair as possible and a valid scientific exercise. Throughout Australia, water diviners are earning good money by telling farmers where to sink their bores. And now the cream of them are about to put their claims to the test.
Are you satisfied with the conditions?
They appear to be quite okay, Bob, yes. Everything that we have asked for so far has been met with, and I think this is fair enough. This is as much as can be expected.
First, before any water is turned on, each diviner checks the area to make sure it's clear of interference.
It seems clear. Clear.
You find it's clear. Okay, jump right in the square, Ted. Clear. Okay? Put it back in the bag, replace it now. Now we're going to turn on number 9 right in front of you to see what happens. I want you to go back to that position as soon as we've turned it on. And then you will come down here and ascertain that you get the dowsing reaction here. As soon as it's open, let me know.
And now, with the diviner's knowledge, water is sent flowing through pipe number 9.
Okay, gentlemen, we will turn off this first, please.
For candidate number 1, the test proper begins. The diviner is not told the correct result, which is scrutinised by the Reverend Ted Knopfs. After each run, a different pipe is chosen at random. The diviner is not allowed to watch.
Was the sensation that you got walking over pipe 4 the same as it was when you walked over pipe 9 when you knew that the water was in pipe 9?
Yes.
Exactly the same?
Just the same.
He divined number 4.
Yes.
Which pipe was the water running through?
Well, I'm not supposed to know that, because I'm supposed to be doing this in a double-blind fashion.
Yeah, but I mean...
And if I knew even, I wouldn't reveal it to you now, because people are standing here watching. You have a reporter less than a foot behind your shoulder, and he would know it too.
Most of the diviners claim 100% accuracy. But what if divining does not work? What if it's pure fiction? If they walk over the pipes and try to guess the right one, then their chances of accidental success are 1 in 10. 10%. That's the figure to remember. 10%.
The value is roughly $14,000.
$14,000. Right, so if they win...
It's the purest gold in Australia.
Right. Now, what's
Australian
the there?
It's Australian Bullion Company gold in the purest gold in
What's his
Australia.
first name?
Mike.
Mike, can you come here? Is that... Do you want to just check a divining thing on that?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
No. Oh, no, you'll be doing the gold one. Oh, no, you wanted water.
Yeah, I do.
No, you'll be the next water one.
No, so I shouldn't try.
No. Well, you can try it now if you want to.
All the diviners claim the ability to detect metal. The testing procedure is simple. First, each diviner satisfies himself that he can detect the gold inside the cardboard box. And then the gold is hidden inside one of 10 boxes.
How did the gentleman with the hat go?
Not very well, Bob. In test 1, the gold was in box 6, he picked number 4. Test 2 was in number 7, he picked number 2. Test 3 was in number 7, he picked number 2. In test 4, in box 9, he picked number 1. In test 5 was in box 9, he picked number 6. So he didn't get any right at all.
During the day, more than 100 test runs over both water and metal are made by the diviners.
Most of you estimated that you would be 100% successful.
When the number of trials is added together, and the chances were 1 in 10, that is 10%. 10% was the chance by purely mathematical chance, not with any ability being exhibited. Just the fact that it would be done by throwing a coin or throwing a dart into a board would be 1 in 10 or 10%. And the total results were?
Well, I'm going to read out the metal results and tend the other one. The metal results with the brass, we had no one chose the brass out of 26 tries, so that's 0%. And with the gold, there were 4 correct decisions out of 35 attempts, and that's about 12%. So the average for the complete metal, gold and brass, today was 6.6%, which is probably a little bit less than what you get by chance.
And then in the water dowsing, 10 out of a total of 50 tries, there were only 11 successful attempts, which was 22%. The total of everything, that is to say the brass, the gold, and the water, meant 111 tries were undertaken. There were a total of 15 successful, and that makes approximately a percentage of 12%. So the result was just a little over the 10%.
Well, it's equivalent to throwing a dart at random into a dartboard or flipping coins or choosing cards at random. It would seem from this evidence that all of what we have done today, and this is an agreement with other tests that I have conducted in other parts of the world, as I've said, it would seem to indicate that dowsing as a force simply does not exist except in the imagination and in wishful thinking. Ideomotor reaction is an unconscious reaction in which the person who's operating the machinery or whatever unconsciously tilts or very, very slightly changes the position of the hand or however the thing is held. Now, by this I mean with a dowsing rod, when you hold a dowsing rod like this, the dowsing rod is tensed. It's enormously tense. There's a lot of energy put in the thing. It's hard to keep it level. If you're using the rods and they're sticking out like this, it's hard to keep them level and straight as well. In order to make them move back and forth, the tiniest movement of the hand or the tiniest flexing of the wrist is the only thing that's necessary for them to move, and move a great deal, either whip up or down or diverge or cross in a great big motion. Because of that, ideomotor reaction comes in. If you believe, and remember as Dick said, when you fellas knew the water was flowing in the pipe and you were told the number at the beginning, it was flowing in pipe number 2, for example, it was there, you were assured that it was there, your reactions were very positive. And you were right, of course. The rods moved. From then on, it got very difficult, and then the decisions were wrong from then on. Not always wrong, but certainly well within chance.
Green shaded areas show the extent of Australia's underground water. It's hard to miss. Ideomotor reaction, extensive groundwater, and its total failure under test conditions. This should lay to rest the phenomenon of water divining.
Of the dowsers who are here today, I'd like to see a show of hands. How many still believe in dowsing? Let's have a show of hands. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
By the way, you guys, the offer is still open. I've just checked, $40,000. If you can get together in a group and come up with something that we can test, any paranormal activity or water divining or something, it's open. We're genuinely interested in trying to at least get the minutest skerrick of evidence.